When I came to Denver, I already had some knowledge of the Act of Repentance. I had been involved in several planning meetings already, and intellectually I understood what we needed to do as a non-native people. During our Denver meeting, we had several representatives of the Northern Cheyenne who told their stories, and as Reginald Kilsnight Sr. and Otto Braided Hair were telling their stories, I could see the pain, the anguish that still existed, and it was something that I hadn't thought about before, even though I knew it was the right thing to do. And it began to go from my mind to my heart. And in that moment, I think my entire perspective changed. I think as we consider the Act of Repentance for 2012, that it's very important that we don't just do one act. We need, as non-Indigenous people, to understand the beginnings of our history in this country. We need to have an understanding of some of the horrible things that occurred, like the Sand Creek Massacre. But perhaps just as importantly, we need to understand the ongoing things that are being done to Native Americans and to Indigenous people around the world. Their sovereignty and their pain from long ago and even today. The Act of Repentance is extremely important to us today, not just as a single act in 2012, but as United Methodists, we need to be looking very carefully at how we can educate other people to learn about what happened to Indigenous people in this country. We need to make that an ongoing process so that not only our minds but our hearts can be changed in the long term. As I was listening to Otto Braided Hair, I began to realize that we can't change things just by being educated. It really has to come from the mind to the heart. It isn't going to work if it's just an educational learning experience, although that is critical. We've got to recognize how important this is to the people we have hurt. I know this took some time for me to process, and it's going to take time for other people to process this so that it becomes something that is really from the heart. And we're going to have some patience. We're going to need some real effort to make sure that we can make this widespread throughout the church and beyond, so that we don't just take this for granted and move on.